As I've been setting up for this, I've literally had this music on loop for about 15 minutes, and I don't think I'm ever going to tire of it. This is Dick Tracy for the Mega Drive. I want to say I remember this game, but I think having sat here and had a quick look at it, I think I remember the Master System version, which we'll have a look at as well. But I definitely have strong memories of this game. Certainly one of the early formative video game experiences. I have no experience with the comic book or with the movie, which is kind of weird. And it's made me wonder if they ever put this movie out on Blu-ray. Let's go pick it up. But yeah, this is an interesting game. So it's published by Sega, developed by Sega internally, like most of their games at the time. Is it waiting for me to? Yeah, okay. Sega Technical Institute were the guys that made this, who went on to do Kid Chameleon, Comic Zone, Die Hard Arcade, which is another game that I desperately want to have a look at. But it's a side-scroller. And perhaps surprisingly for a side-scroller, I suppose at the time, lots of gun action. So that was the thing I remember, is that you could shoot, probably shouldn't shoot in the police station, but you can shoot in the background, move with the D-pad, which is kind of a cool move. This game came out in 1990, I believe, so it's pretty early Mega Drive. And I think you can see that in the sprite work. It's, you know, the animations are fairly rigid, movement's pretty slow. It's the kind of stuff I would expect from an early era Mega Drive game compared to something like, you know, Gunstar Heroes, or then again that's Treasure. How are you gonna beat Treasure? But yeah, you compare this to Comic Zone. This looks kind of almost antique, and it's perhaps unsurprising that they actually managed to do a Master System port of this, because it's, you know, you'd be surprised. I'm kind of surprised how close the Master System version is to this. It's probably why I'm confused by it. Yeah, I always thought this game was cool. I don't know that I was ever very good at it. I like the idea of the side scroller with two layers, where you're shooting into the background and also actively kind of engaging with the foreground. Not doing very well. Oh, look at it, it's kind of checkpointing me. Yeah, I need to be more cautious about where I'm shooting and what I'm doing. I think in terms of mechanics, there's not a lot to it. You can shoot into the background, which is holding C and moving the D-pad. You can jump, which is B, and you can shoot into the foreground with the A button. Although if you get close to an enemy, instead of shooting, he'll actually just punch them. Oh. I don't know what your defense is against the background, guys. I think it's just that they don't, because they're not shooting left to right, they have more of a kind of woolly aim. So you start seeing those bullet holes where they're attempting to shoot you. So you get a little bit of leeway. So at least in the foreground you can duck. I just love the music. I love the style of it. I love the music. That was a short level. There's something about it that I really like. Even the stage start music. Out of bullets. Okay, so now machine gun button doesn't do anything. Pistol button punches. But then there's no background to this stage, so already mixing it up on stage 1B. I think you can tell this is fairly early Mega Drive by the sound effects as well, but that's not a particularly refined punch sound. Ow! Dick Tracy don't care, no 4. Dick Tracy don't care, no 4? Can you tell I've had no sleep tonight? Or last night? Jesus. There's warm summers. Alright. Oh. Yeah, so this stage isn't so hot because there's not a lot going on. You can't, double tap to dash or anything. Can I get up on there? Oh, I have to. like Dark Souls. Look, there's all these patterns. Punching people in the face. Oops. Oh, do I dare? I don't dare jump up there in case collision detection's ropey on this game. So, having a quick look up at this game, there actually was multiple different Dick Tracy video games. As was kind of the start at the time. I think I mentioned in Alien 3 there was, you know, a billion different versions of Alien 3. Dick Tracy, the Sega version was just Master System Mega Drive. I don't think there was an arcade version. But there was an NES game, there was a Game Boy game, all done by different developers, probably with all different gameplay design and different style. It's this era I find fascinating, the kind of era when you would have literally one movie. Like, this isn't a massive franchise. I know it came from a comic book strip, but it's not like a Marvel or a DC, where you could understand how you'd end up with 6 or 7 different Batman games. But Dick Tracy is not that big, the Hollywood movie, but to have 3 different video games based on it, all in the same year, is kind of impressive. I'm determined to beat Stage 1B. Oh, you... Do you think Dick Tracy does a lot of crotch punching in the movie? I'm going to guess not. I just had a quick look at the cast list. I can't believe the cast list for it. It seems like this was a big thing at the time. It feels like one of those weird lost in time movies that if you didn't see it at the time, it's completely gone from... I think the only reason people remember Dick Tracy might be this game. It's certainly the only reason I remember it, because I never saw it at the time. Oh! Need longer fists. There we go. Oh, come on! Oh, alright. Well, at least shit point with me. I'll let you off. It's pretty glorious, cheap enemy placement there. Oh. See, I like these games because they have... There's something about the way they're designed. They know their limitations. And you've got really clear things in mind in this game where you've got, blue guys run at you and punch. Pink guys have a gun. Green guys have the grenades. That's kind of a... I like the little comic book. Also, is it weird that these guys went on to do Comic Zone? Is that just a weird thing? A coincidence, or are they just big comic book guys? Plus Kid Chameleon's kind of comic booky as well. It's interesting because although it looks basic by today's standards, trying to keep your eye on the foreground and the background at the same time is an interesting kind of push and pull. I suppose games like, actually, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker played with that sort of gameplay mechanic where you'd have multiple layers of enemies, but you didn't have background layers you could shoot into. Oh, he jumped. Enemies are getting more crafty as well. It's also worth mentioning, you could just shoot for hours. There's nothing to stop you. And those pesky reloads. Looks like Dick Tracy's just out there shooting up windows. fun. Oh! See, that's cool. Enemies rolling into the... There are brawlers that came out at the very end of the Mega Drive that don't have this much going on at once. I'm curious how much of the Mega Drive version actually ends up in the Master System version, because I sort of remember it being like this, but I'm guessing it's much more basic. I mean, it definitely has the two weapons, but because obviously the Master System controller's only got two buttons, got 1 and 2, it can't do two discrete buttons for shooting. So, if I remember rightly, I think it's a press for one and a hold for the other. You can machine gun while you're crouched as well, which is quite handy. Ah! One more go at us. The idea of a guy jumping over a bullet. That's some real Matrix level stuff going on. Right, here we go. So he hasn't lost a lot of health. It's gonna be a long boss fight. It's only got 2 minutes left. I think the solution to this game is to stay crouched at all times. Oh, it's going to move on again. Take that, Windows. Itchy's taking a lot of bullets. I'm slightly worried about Itchy. Oh, I didn't notice all those windows at the top. Oh. There we go. If Dick Tracy can't smash up every window in a 3-block area, I don't know who can. Nice. Yeah, the comic strip kind of bonus round. Comic strip's kind of cool. As a little framing device. What? Oh. Oh, right, I got it. Supposed to shooting the enemies with the ABC button. Oops. Ah! It's so difficult to tell when they haven't got a gun. Two out of 9 good guys. Have a look at this. Oh, go with the knife. That guy's rumbling. His Tommy gun got that much recoil. So they're throwing in more enemies and ramp up the difficulty. I really like this game. It's simplistic, but in the best possible way. It's stylish. It's got good music. It kind of hits all the notes you'd want. All right, let's have a quick look at the Master System version. Just make sure I'm remembering it correctly. Again, great music. This is Dick Tracy for the Master System. This is the version I definitely owned. We definitely had the Master System version. It's still got the copyright from Touchstone, which I guess must have been the studio that put it together. Ooh. Is that what that's meant to look like? Okay. I can't really do much with that. So it actually retains some of the comic book stuff. Yeah. Okay. This looks rougher than I remember. It's slower. You can still do the shooting in the background though. It's kind of got the music as well. Maybe it was the Mega Drive version I owned then. I must have played this at some point. Yeah, I had both. I genuinely don't remember anymore. It's been, 25 years, whatever it was. You can kind of see they've, it's a pretty straight port. Retains a lot of the same gameplay. Just slightly more ropey. As you'd expect from a Master System, because the Master System was never some graphical powerhouse. It was, quite an underpowered machine, even compared to the NES. The 1990s is pretty advanced, really. Even for the sound chip, this is, half decent. Oh. Oh, but that stage cleared noise. It's beautiful. Oh! What is that colour supposed to be? Ah, so I've lost my guns, but it hasn't told me I've lost my guns. So it is actually, repeating the levels from previous. From the Mega Drive version, sorry. Also, they're throwing actual grenades now. I think it's pretty easy to say, if you want to play this at this point, play the Mega Drive version. Don't play the Master System version, unless you really desperately need to. I think the other thing about this version that I was trying to figure out is that you can press both buttons at the same time and get backup, which didn't seem to be able to do in the Mega Drive version. I was just doing some reading about it. I'll try in a minute. Wait till there's more than 2 guys on screen. Preferably when there's 2 grenade guys on screen because they're a pain in the ass. Come on. There you go. AI is not so hot on this version either. Just tend to run at you. And their grenade arc is so high that it tends to fly over you. Oh. Levels feel shorter as well, but then you move quicker, so... There you go. So if you press both buttons at the same time, you get that. And I died. That doesn't help. It's really difficult to move in this game. Even when you're crouched, it seems to be really stubborn about getting you back up again. Come on. about to say the boss hasn't appeared yet, so... Oh. Yeah, so the boss is overly simplified, but... You know, from a gameplay perspective... Oh, and it actually does that with the 2 buttons. Oh, shut the waiter. This is even more difficult. You can barely see what the portraits are supposed to be. Oh, that's a fireman. Ah! I'll just shoot all the good guys, shall I? This goes a while. Yeah. That was rather rough. But that's Dick Tracy for the Master System. It's basically the same game, just, you know, ported down to an 8-bit machine, which is... It's even got the same enemies. I think it's technically impressive if you know... This is definitely difficult to play now, but... the fact they managed to port this at all... Quite impressive. But, yeah, if you want to play Dick Tracy, I would wholeheartedly recommend the Mega Drive version. This is kind of interesting in a historical context now, but... I don't think I'd recommend it for gameplay. And now I'm going to go look and see if I can buy Dick Tracy on Blu-ray.